directly are you involved in making Propeller successful?
Okay, thank you so much. My name again is Jane Kamau, Director Industrial Training and Skills Development at NITA. NITA is under the State Department of Skills, Labor and Skills Development in the Ministry of Labor. Within the Act of NITA, that is Cap 237, within the point of number 24, section 21, it guides NITA to come up with a scheme. And a scheme is a document or a framework for regulation and standardization. So that scheme is what regulates and guides all the processes of NITA as far as training is concerned. It's a regulator. So within those schemes, you have 4 schemes. One of them is apprenticeship. And the apprenticeship scheme guides on how the entry behavior of the person. What is the age? What are the qualifications? How long should their contract be? And then it leads to once even a contract. It guides on the requirements of the employer. So in this particular case, when the employer makes the request, the NITA considers the request. One, the employer must be a levy contributor, because it's good to note that industrial training levy is what then meets the cost of the training when the student is in the center. Because apprenticeship is a program where the student spends part of the time, in this particular case, 30% of the training time in the center and 70% of the time in the workplace. And even in the center, the conditions must meet the requirements. So there is inspection at the workplace to ensure that the employer has a minimum of 3 staff per apprentice. Then at the center, and the employer must also have the facilities, the equipment that is required. Then at the center, the equipment must also be aligned. And I do remember when we started this project, most employers, they said, we must be sure of where to go for the in-center training. They even vetted even the trainers, because you remember in Kenya, there are institutions where the trainer may not have themselves been in industry, or they were there a long time ago, or they only went there for industrial attachment. So there's a lot of regulation. Eventually what will happen is NITA will grant permission to the employer to uptake the apprentices. They will determine for the employer, based on what they have found out during the inspection, the number of apprentices they can take up. Even if they take 1, it's okay. And then there will be a contract signed by the apprentice, who is recruited by the employer, and the employer has a copy, and the DG NITA retains a copy. So the DG NITA regulates the whole of that process. During the training, there will be reports coming on monthly basis from the employer on the performance. And the employer also must have a training plan of how they are going to meet the requirements of the curriculum. Then in the center, there are also feedback. So this student, the apprentice, we don't actually call them students, we call them apprentices. They are either with the employer for 3 weeks or 1 week with the trainer. And then the Swiss Contact also, in agreement with the employers, decided the curriculum must meet the industry standards. Remember, in most cases, industry moves faster than even what is happening at the training. So we have sat together. NITA has the sector training committees, and these sectors are 12. And within those sectors, we have the infrastructure sector, and there is a construction. We go deep into that. So that is the sector that leads. The sectors you bring on board who are the players in the market. And that is how we landed the employers who are here with us, and they nominate their best practitioners within the industry. And they are the ones who sit with us, and they tell us this is what should be trained for a particular level. For now, we are doing level 5 of the Kenya National Qualifications Framework. So that curriculum has gone through. It even goes through validation, though we have developed it with a few. Then we call a wider group, and the wider group then are the ones who come and say, now we endorse that. It again goes to piloting. We have already piloted, especially in the round 1, it was a pilot phase. We still go back to the employer who says this and this and this.